Hi, I'm Nancy Pfaff. I'm glad you're here. I'm a spiritual director, one who listens to you share your life experience and witness your encounter with the sacred. For more information about me, see the introduction to this series. In this interspiritual, non-sectarian forum, you have an opportunity to experience the silent presence of the mystery that is love. We do this through the practice of Lectio Divina, an ancient spiritual practice of deep listening to inspired poetry or prose. As we open ourselves to the spirit behind the words, our self-focus slips away, and we can experience the radiant divine presence that permeates the universe. Following our Lectio Divina portion, I will share a mystical experience to encourage you in your own journey. A mystical experience is a perception of an unseen reality, a spiritual presence, a noumen, or an absolute that is transcendent, that is, greater than we are. A link to Jerome Waddle's video on the science of mystical experience will be in the description. Our reading for Lectio Divina is from Mirabai Starr, an advocate for the divine feminine and a contemplative modern mystic. She is an interfaith teacher and spiritual leader, author of Wild Mercy, God of Love, and more. Mirabai uses a variety of words for the divine, and will be using the phrase, quote, Holy One, end quote. Jerome Waddle, creator and producer of My Dragon Theater Productions, is watching the chat, so do say hello. Other friends may be here that you don't know and might find if you write in the chat, so you can interact. I'd love you to subscribe by clicking the bell, and then you can get notices when we go live or post something new. As you listen to the reading tonight, pay attention to what happens in you. The response you have to the reading signals a communication from the Holy One. The more often you are able to experience this connection, you may become more fully aware of it throughout each day and evening. This leads to an awareness of yourself and the Holy One as one. Briefly, what you'll do during Lectio Divina is ponder the words as they're read, relate them to yourself, be present to what arises within you, and rest in the stillness. Let's get to know Mirabai Starr. Mirabai Starr was born in 1961 and grew up in an intentional spiritual community that honored all the world's faith traditions. She describes her spiritual path this way, quote, I'm a Jew with a lifelong devotion to a Hindu guru, practicing asana Buddhist meditation, initiated into 3 Sufi orders, and a translator of the Christian mystics, end quote. She taught philosophy and world religions at the University of Arizona-Taos for 20 years. Her website will be in the description. I chose Mirabai Starr because she is a contemporary modern mystic, and she embodies the divine feminine. I love her warmth and compassion, her deep, deep spirituality as a mystic, and her joy. Just being around her gives you an experience of being seen as you really are and fully accepted. When I think of Mirabai, I see her wide smile and I hear her easy laugh. Her writing is delightful. Here's an example. She writes, quote, there is a secret place, a radiant sanctuary, as real as your own kitchen, more real than that, constructed of the purest elements, overflowing with the 10,000 beautiful things. Worlds within worlds, forests, rivers, velvet coverlets thrown over feather beds, fountains bubbling beneath a canopy of stars, bountiful forests, universal libraries, a wine cellar offering an intoxication so sweet you will never be sober again, a clarity so complete you will never again forget. And here's another quote taken from her book, The Interior Castle, a new translation by Mirabai Starr. Quote, "This magnificent refuge is inside you. Enter. Shatter the darkness that shrouds the doorway. Believe the incredible truth that the Beloved has chosen you as a dwelling place, the core of your own being, because that is the single most beautiful place in all of creation." Mirabai speaks often of the divine feminine and how the body is embraced as sacred. She says, honor the vessel of your body so that you may be the most robust and joyous embodiment of the sacred possible. This truth is echoed in the Christian New Testament, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19, which says, quote, "Don't you realize that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit who lives in you and was given to you? You do not belong to yourself," end quote. Nurturing life in our bodies opens us to the Holy One. Whatever leads to life, we can be sure we're moving in and into wholeness. So this includes what gives health to the body. Celebrating the sensual side of our nature intensifies the life force flowing through us. Whether loving oneself or two lovers embracing, giving and receiving love and reaching ecstasy, taste the delight of union, of their oneness with all that is. That flash of joy is our essential reality. But the erotic is not limited to physical sexuality, rather to an experience of being filled with life, of being on fire with a creative desire through art, music, all creative expressions birthed by the life force some call Sophia, and some call Shakti, and others call the Holy Spirit. As we prepare for the reading, take a moment to notice your surroundings. Ideally, you will be in a safe, quiet environment in which you have something that symbolizes the presence of the Holy One with you. Hold an intention for this Lectio Divina. I like to say, I consent to your presence and action in my life, or I open myself to the experience of the divine presence. Performing a simple ritual involves the senses and unites them. This signals the body and mind that we're shifting into a different sphere. A gesture is often used, such as placing your hands over your heart and briefly focusing your attention there. There will be 3 readings of the same quote. The third reading will be a special pre-recorded reading by Jerome Waddle. The reading celebrates embracing spirit in form, spirit in body. Now let's settle in. To relax and open, let's take 2 long, deep breaths together. In order to have a fully embodied consciousness, we're going to imagine scanning our bodies from head to toe. I'll guide you. Just notice what is happening in your body, such as an ache or tension or energy moving. and be present to it with curiosity. We're entering a place like no other place, a time like no other time. You may close or soften your eyes. Begin by focusing your attention on your head. Just notice what is happening, if anything, and be present to it with curiosity. Now move your attention to your neck and shoulders. Shift your attention to the front of your torso and down your arms. Now focus on your back. Notice your hips to thighs. Thighs and legs. Your ankles and feet. Notice if a shift in you has taken place. Relax now and listen to the readings. The first reading. The Holy dwells in the cells of our own bodies, in the veins of water that course below the surface of the earth, in the clouds that lift and carry our prayers. Mingle them with the prayers of our ancestors and release them where they are most needed. A minute of silence. The second reading. The holy dwells in the cells of our own bodies, in the veins of water that course below the surface of the earth, in the clouds that lift and carry our prayers. Mingle them with the prayers of our ancestors and release them where they are most needed. A minute of silence. The third reading.
The holy dwells in the cells of our own bodies, in the veins of water that course below the surface of the earth, in the clouds that lift and carry our prayers. Mingle them with the prayers of our ancestors and release them where they are most needed.
A minute of silence. Continue to be present to your experience. As you open your eyes, look around your space slowly and notice colors. Notice shapes. Rub your arms. Bring some circulation in and clap your hands. Now I want to share a mystical experience with you to point to a rich reality, and also so you won't be afraid when a mystical experience is given to you. Saint Teresa of Avila, a Spanish mystic of the 16th century, calls the type of experience I'm sharing an imaginative vision. It's not because it's manufactured by fantasy or the imagination, but because this kind of vision is seen by the inner eye of the soul, not the physical eye. It can pass quickly like a streak of lightning, though the soul can experience this kind of vision for some while. This experience is specific to me and not necessarily what you should expect. Your experience is unique and depends on your particular makeup. I will note that this was a drug-free experience. In May 2008, I was in Paris studying art and prayer when our group went to the famous domed basilica called Sacré-Cœur. A man met us at the door with his finger to his lips and whispered, "Keep your voices down." I began quietly sauntering around to see what was there. As I rounded a corner, I came upon a life-size statue of Jesus. No one was nearby, so I went up close. I was stunned by the reality of the figure, not one with a halo that separated him from me, but a real man. He was offering his hand so I could see the scars where the nails had been, and the other hand was placed on his loving heart. I had practiced a form of prayer called gazing, in which I would be present to a figure with curiosity and openness. So I gazed at Jesus, and as I did, he stepped out of the statue and came over to me. Jesus looked like he might have looked after the resurrection, fully alive, vital, joyful, playful even, eminently approachable. There was no sense of separation. The gaze from his eyes was filled with welcome and compassion, as if to say, "I see you, see me." As I looked at him, I knew his divinity was the fullness of his humanity, a wholeness of being. It was as if we were joined in one consciousness. You may have met a spiritual master teacher with whom you experienced that oneness. In that unity, I experienced Jesus fully. He completely received who I was just as I was, and was sharing himself with me. Every cell of my body felt bathed in love. My awareness was flooded with joy. I could sense the cosmic import of this love for all of us, and with that love, a deep compassion for all we go through in this life. In that compassion was an astonishing respect for each of us, a full and complete understanding of how hard it can be to live in this world. There was no sign of rejection or judgment, no sense of disapproval. Instead, there was this all-embracing love, seeing me, a love who sees all of us, sees our incalculable worth. The vision faded, and I lingered there by the statue in awe of what had happened. I had no words or thoughts. I couldn't fully grasp the magnitude of it all. Only now, after 13 years, can I fully accept and understand that this was the Holy One manifesting love as the essential nature of which it is made, and of which we are made. Our true nature is what Jesus manifested. Now, before we go, I'd like to ask your thoughts and prayers for Mirabai Starr, who is, as I speak, resting from a surgery for an early stage melanoma. She will be taking a lengthy period of rest. Thank you for your thoughts and prayers for her. If you'd like to contact me as a spiritual director or share your mystical experience, email me at sacredquestreno@gmail.com. People contact me as a spiritual director to support them as they journey toward wholeness. For Jerome Waddle's readings, just type Jerome Waddle in the YouTube search bar. Before you go, I'd love you to click like if you do, and share this with your friends. Thank you for joining me. May the love that passes all understanding keep you in peace.